Welcome. I'm Rob. If you're new to silver and gold, there's a little bit of advice I can give you on it. Uh, these are some places you can buy. I'm not officially associated with them and selling or any of that stuff. Okay, these are some places to buy from that I bought from and I like. SD Bullion. SD Bullion was one of the places. Another one is JM Bullion. JM Bullion is another place. And another one is Provident Metals. Provident Metals. Those three places there I bought from and didn't have a problem with. Uh, my advice, uh, you can go and buy one of them coins that's in a hard case, whatever, been graded and everything. You can spend $600-700 for it. But, if the economy crashes, or something like that, when you go to try to sell that, and it's like my brother told me in the past, it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay. Okay, so if you're a collector, that's fine. Everybody's got their hobbies and like to collect. But the economy collapses, the chance of you get $600-700 out of that coin is pretty slim to none. Okay. Anyways, so you can go to these places here that I've told you about. Anyways, SD Bullion, JM Bullion, Provident Metals. And when you go there, you got IRA bullion. Okay, you got talk about your silver rounds, one out silver rounds. Okay, that's what you're looking for. Designs are choice. Reason for that is it's because it's cheaper. You know, some of them have blemishes and stuff like that. Whatever. You're not there. You're not buying it for a collector's point. You're buying it for the silver content. Okay. Um, Now, the reason why I gave you those three different places is you can, I don't know how much you wanted to buy, but anyway, I recommend getting some 1 ounces, definitely. But, anyways, you can compare prices between the three places. You got shipping and all that stuff added in there, plus the different payments. That makes the difference in the pricing, too. Okay. Now, I know there's other places you can buy from. I'm not disarming that, But anyways, what you're looking for is IRA bullion. So that's also goes towards your, you use for retirement, in the future too, that's good to have, And so what I just told you is the silver rounds, the 1 ounce silver rounds designs are a choice. They are IRA approved. They are. Okay. Anyways. Now when you want to come down to end time, you know, and whatever the Black Friday event, banks, everything collapses, whatnot. You want to maybe consider, I'm not an expert on this, but it's fractional silver. Okay. Sorry, I had a spider on me. Well, anyway. But anyways, you got Valcambi silver, Combi bars, and then you got the Skyline silver. You got the Security Square silver bars that you can look at, and it is. If you go look, you can see it's like a square or whatever, and they're all individually marked, and you can break a piece off. Uh, I'm sure you may have seen them somewhere, maybe some are the size of maybe like a credit card. There you go, fit in your wallet or something. Okay. Now that'd be ideal, fractional silver, because I know people are like, well, I got 1,000 ounce bar. Well, I'll tell you what, you go up to the gas station, and try to pawn that off to the gas unless you're planning on buying the place or something. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna be able to help you. You know, and unless they find a way to scrape some off, I guess, or take a chunk off, to trade and barter. And that's what I'm talking about, trading and bartering. That things got real bad, and it came down to having to deal with silver and gold and stuff. Anyways, uh, so like I said, you got gold that I haven't really messed with a whole lot because I ain't rich. I've only messed with silver. So you got the gold perk mint, hard ore, or Harrius, Ken Bar. Sorry, I have a hard time writing it, let alone saying it. You got the Pamp Swiss, you got the British Gold Britannia Bar, you got the Valcambi Gold Combi Bar, Pamps Swiss sheet, and then on the sheet there's a 25 1 gram, you know. So what you could do is just they could break a piece off, and or a couple, whatever, you know. That's something you might want to look into if you're into all that stuff. Like I said, I never did. I was just in silver. I was getting the 1 ounce silvers because, trust me, if something really did happen, most of the gas stations that are owned, I would assume they would know what an ounce of silver and gold goes. You know, they do own a lot of our stores, and they deal with silver and gold over there in the countries. Anyways, so if I walked in there with an ounce of silver, I'm sure I could put it on the counter and barter with them, and I'm sure they would work with me. You know what I mean? Anyways, but like I said, 100 ounce or kilo bar, I don't know what you're going to do with that. You know what I mean? Unless you're a rich person, you guys plan on, I don't know, some kind of system with that. I have no clue what you could do with that. So, ain't nothing wrong with having 5 ounces or maybe a 10 ounce, but we started getting over that. I don't know, rich people stuff. You'd have to talk to your rich people friends on that one. This is for new people. Like I said, you could go buy, those expensive coins and stuff, but when it comes down to it, you want to trade it off and sell it to the pawn shops or the gold coin shops or whatever. They're only going to give you what's the worth and the value of the weight of the silver and gold. They're not going to give you $700 for that coin. They're not going to give you $1,000 that you paid that one in that case, high grade A, whatever, and all that, and everything. They're not going to pay you that, But if the silver's only $48 an ounce, they ain't going to give you. They may give you close to the price. They won't give you exactly what it is, but sometimes they will. They'll give you $48 on the ounce. So what you're looking for is, like I said, the best thing to do. What I was doing was a silver round, 1 ounce round designs, our choice. You want to look for that one, and then IRA approved, they are. And like I said, something you can always have for your savings, too. You're looking at for the metal, not for collectors, unless that's what you're into. Everybody's got each to his own. Now, me saying all this, I'm going to get to where, you know, uh, it says about it in the Bible. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm getting to this is that, if the end times did happen, you should have some food on hand anyways. If you don't know, it's just like, you know, building the ark and everything. He had to prepare and stuff. God gives us ways to have money and stuff. Blessings or bonuses or whatnot, or maybe extra tax money. You should. There's nothing wrong with buying some food, and I'm going to have another video on food. I talk about some different varieties of foods and stuff I've learned from prepping foods. Okay, and but anyways, New and Old King James Version. I'm reading Ezekiel 7:19. They will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will be like refuse. Their silver and their gold will not be able to deliver them. In the day of the wrath of the Lord, they will not satisfy their souls nor fill their stomachs. That fill their stomachs, because it became their stumbling block of iniquity. Now, like I said, there's nothing wrong with having some silver and gold on hand, but you should have food on hand. You should have some preps on hand just for anything, emergencies. You never know, tornado, hurricane, floods, or whatever. You should have some things, some medical stuff, food. And like I said, I'm gonna have another video on that. But my main thing was I was trying to give you the information that I've learned, and to help you out as a new person, let's get into new gold and silver if you've never done it before and just kind of lost. I don't want you wasting your money like I have in my past. I spent a lot of money on all of that stuff, and I lost a lot of money over it because they're not going to pay you and you're hard up and you want to cash it in, they're not going to pay you what you paid for it, So, anyway, but I I hope this helped you. God bless. So like, subscribe, share with somebody else. I sure hope this information helps.